Every once in a blue moon, I do see a Booktube tag that really energizes and excites me. And I found one today that is called, it's either called the Booktuber role tag or the role of the Booktuber tag. And this is a new tag created by Allison at Allison Annotated. I will link her channel below. And I saw it first from Pat at Book Chat with Pat. So I'll link her channel as well. But I was blown away by these questions compared to most of the tags I see on BookTube. I really can't stand most of the tags, if I'm being honest. I know this is reductionist, but like I've seen tags where it's like name a book with a cat on the cover. Like bash me in the head if I'm ever gonna do that. Those can be fun. I'm not trying to be mean. But these are great questions, really thought-provoking, as Pat said, and relevant, very relevant. Allison created these questions because she had been ruminating about the murder of the Washington Post book world by Jeff Bezos. Washington Post is a U.S. newspaper, national newspaper. Formerly, they had a separate book section, which was full of book reviews and other bookish essays, bookish tidbits. And I will add some qualifiers to myself before answering the questions of not how am I qualified to talk about this. Of course, if you're a reader, you can talk about books and bookish criticism. But I want to add some weight to my, not, I don't mean it like that, but the first qualifier is that I was formerly a reader of Washington Post Book World, and this little manila folder is full of my clippings from one, Book World, and two, I also read the Wall Street Journal review every week, the book section there. But yes, I would go into the newspaper and cut out my favorite reviews. I wouldn't read every review. Like if it didn't interest me, I wouldn't go and read it. But yeah, I was formerly a reader of Book World. I did not especially mourn its passing for what it was, but I mourned it for what it represented. The death of print media is evident here, and I know, I assume the Post Book World had an online component, but the print media in general, something that you have to put your eyes onto, is, I think it's dying, at least for short term, like not books, but like newspapers, magazines, stuff like that. So yeah, I did read Washington Post Book World. What do I have anything good on top? I don't think so. Whatever. But yeah, I like reading book reviews. That's why I'm excited to talk about this tag. I also like reading bound book reviews. I collect collected bookish essays by different critics and literary authors, literary journalists. This, and just to pull one off the shelf, Bound to Please by Michael Durda. This is a collection of a lot of his book reviews from the 90s in Book World, which I really liked this collection. And then I have a whole shelf of collected reviews, or selected collected reviews from other famous critics of the 20th century. So I like reading book reviews. I like writing book reviews as well. I've kind of stopped in the last 8 months because I got imposter syndrome due to I haven't read a lot. It's hard to read a lot, but I haven't read what I think is necessary to be a proper assessor of good literature. So I've kind of stopped that way. But I used to write book reviews on NetGalley and on a website, which I have since discontinued my website. But I have published one official book review through a literary journal, and that was a review of a biography of Diogenes the Cynic, an ancient Greek philosopher, and I published that through Open Letters Review, the online literary journal, and it was very cool of them to work with me and publish my review. I wasn't really expecting that, but I thought I would take a chance, and it was very cool. I will link that down below if you want to read my writing. It's a decent review, I guess. You can comment if you read it and you think it sucks. But yeah, that's a little about me and my history with book reviewing and reading book reviews. So that's why I'm going to comment on this tag. But we shall continue to Allison's tag. Allison annotated the role of the Booktuber tag. So we got 7 questions, and then I'll tag some people, and that'll be it. Prompt number 1, how do you view your role as a Booktuber? Examples might be as a critic, a curator, an influencer, an entertainer, an educator, etc. And just to preface this, I have not rehearsed my answers. I watched, of course, Allison and Pat's videos, and I had time to think about my thoughts, my answers then. But I wanted to get this kind of fresh and in the moment, as I like to do in much of my content. I don't do scripts or anything like that. I like to try to work on my speaking and my thought processes. But how I view my role as a Booktuber, I think there are 3 things in the Booktube or YouTube sphere. It's 1, how do I view my role? Like, what do I think I am? 2, is what do I think I should be? And 3, it's how do others see me? So, my viewing myself, well, it matters for me. I don't think it matters for the channel at large, because the channel doesn't exist if nobody views it realistically, practically. So the popularity of the channel depends on what the audience determines the channel to be. Like if nobody respected what I thought about books, or nobody thought I was an entertaining speaker of literature, an entertainer, we could say, then I wouldn't get any views or subscribers. I'm not going to get into the whole bot argument of it, or most of the people bots, maybe. I don't know. I don't care. But how do I view my role? I don't think on Booktube I am a critic, because I think critic or book critic is a specific job that entails the writing of book reviews of new releases. Well, that's one way. You write book reviews of new releases professionally, or you could do it on the side as well. But that's something that you do. It's not that you are critical of literature. I saw a video from Two to Ramble recently. They're a fantasy book podcast / YouTube channel. They did a video on critic. It was like the critic versus the casual, on like what you should do as a reader. And they brought on Thomas Howell of the YouTube channel Thomas Howell, I think. And he was in the role of the critic, and there was this guy Justin who they he was the casual. They kept ragging on him for rereading Percy Jackson, which I thought that was kind of a weird, weird thing to just bring this guy on to dump on him. But I don't know their relationship, so I'm not gonna say it was bad or anything. But that whole debate about criticism, I don't think they had any critics on there. So it didn't really make sense. But sorry for that tangent. What I see myself on Booktube is an entertainer. I'm not a critic here because I'm just talking about books. I'm mostly talking about what I'm reading. And we can get into semantics here, but when you say you've reviewed a book, most of the time you mean you've just talked about the book and your thoughts on it. It doesn't mean a traditional book review that would be published in a magazine or a newspaper or something else. It just means you've talked about it. And we see the same thing in the argument of audiobooks versus physical books. When you say you've read a book, but you listen to the audiobook, you haven't actually read it with your eyes. That we can go into the definition of reading a book. It means reading the words. You put your eyes across the page and you read it. If you listen to an audiobook, you've listened to the book. And that's semantics, of course, but when somebody says, oh, I read it, and I listened, but it was on audio, it's like they mean they completed the text of the book. And I'm not going to go into does it count or not, like who cares? But semantics, and that's where I see I reviewed a book on my YouTube channel. You talked about it, you read it, and then you talked about your thoughts on it, which that's different than like writing a review of something. So that's why I don't consider myself a critic on Booktube, but I could consider myself an amateur book critic as a writer of book reviews. Very, very amateur, very green. But that's something I would like to do in the future, but that's not... I would be hard-pressed to find YouTube videos that are effective, true book criticism. Because these are all our channels. We're not some disembodied set of words on a page. This is us, a person, speaking. It's different. So I would say I'm probably an entertainer here, but this is just me talking about what I've read. I don't like to do like clickbaity lists or anything. I try to just talk about what I've read recently and did I think it was good or not, and then what did I like or what did I not like. The most clickbaity thing I probably do is rankings, but as many of you probably do, I've got the old ranking-tism or lists and ranks just kind of like tickle the brain, you know. But I don't really do many thumbnails, and I try not to do... I heard somebody call them like listicles recently. I thought that was hilarious. Where you just do like 5 books that made me poop my pants or something. And you just keep recycling the same books in different like little recommendation videos. I thought that was funny. I try not to do those. But to each their own. So I'm going on and on. I'm sorry. Prompt number 2. Do you have any educational background in literature or literary criticism, either formal or self-directed? And, if comfortable sharing, do you have any other education or professional experience that you bring to bear on your reviews? No, I do not have any educational background in literature. I went to college. I don't think I read a single book in college. I graduated somehow, but yeah. no education. My only background is, I explained earlier, I read and write book reviews. As a bookish layman, but I'm doing the autodidact thing where you teach yourself, not paying for any classes or anything. And it's slow going, but I think it's worth it. It's a lot cheaper than going back to school to get a master's. I thought about that once, and then it was ridiculous, so I didn't do that. Prompt number 3. Do you typically do any research on either the book or the author before you review a book? I don't especially do anything more for my videos. I'm a huge fan of Wikipedia. So usually I'll read through the Wikipedia entry of at least the book that I've read, and I'll at least go through the author's main summary at the top, just for my own edification. I think it's interesting to learn about these people and these stories and any context or history behind it or any connecting variables. But for my bookish videos, the main thing is getting names and dates right that I should know. So that's just my research, drilling it in, this is what I'm talking about. I don't want to be somebody who doesn't know what they're talking about. And often I am somebody who doesn't know what they're talking about, but I think as the years have gone on, I have improved in that standpoint. And I hope that's been noticeable, but you never know. I'm still kind of an idiot sometimes, so that's that. Question 3. Do you focus your reviews more on the objective qualities of a book or more on your subjective opinions about it? Honestly, that's a hard question, because I don't really watch my review or my videos back after I watch it in editing to make sure it's fine to post, but I don't go back and look at things, so I couldn't give you a mathematical number, or percentage, oh, it's this much objective, this much subjective. But I think as my reading journey has gone along, I know more, and I know my tastes more, but I know more about what good is and what bad is. So therefore I can shift more to the objective. I hope I talk more about objective now than I did when I started. But one of my initial problems with writing reviews is that I didn't feel authoritative in my stances, and that's why as I said, I'm going back and reassessing some things. But the more you read, the more you know, the more you can be objective, and that's why professional criticism is not YouTube videos. There's no barrier to entry to making a YouTube channel to talking about books. It's just a discussion. There is a barrier of entry to be a professional in anything. And I'm not talking about the definition of professional where you do it for a living. Because you could be an idiot and make money doing YouTube and do that for a living. And it wouldn't make you an expert or anything. It would just mean that people like to look at your face, or they like your voice or something. But think about baseball, and there's something called the Savannah Bananas in baseball. It's an entertainment baseball league. These guys, it's like Harlem Globetrotters in basketball. It's an entertainment, a more entertaining version, a more fun version of baseball that people pay to go see, like a regular baseball game. These people who play on the Savannah Bananas are professional in that they're paid to do their work as baseball players, baseball entertainers, but they're not professional in that they are the best of the best, like they're in the MLB. Now, the Major League Baseball players are Probably, I don't know the exact skill level of the Bananas players, but there's a difference between just doing it for a living and being like an expert, like the best. And I think people on YouTube, on Booktube, can do this for a living. It doesn't mean necessarily that they're expert critics or not, because there's such a depth and breadth of knowledge needed and writing skill needed to be an effective critic, I think. At least from what I read of other critics. So, yeah. Question number 5. Have you ever received a free book or advanced reader copy from the author? And if so, did it have any impact on your ability to honestly review the book or on how you felt about it? I have never received a book from an author, so I won't comment on that. I have received books from publishers, and I have no qualms about giving something a negative review at all. The one book review that I published I thought was okay, and I pointed out where I thought it made mistakes in my review. I think that's an important part of criticism is if I knew the author, I probably wouldn't say anything. But I don't really know any authors, so I don't have that problem. But yeah, if I'm fine giving a negative review of anything. I don't think I would talk about it at length though. Like I just read Murderbot by Martha Wells, and I thought it was terrible, but I'm not going to make a dedicated review attacking every single thing that I thought was wrong with it. Because then you kind of get into like, oh, you're just being a poopy head. But I digress. Question number 6. Do you review every book you read? I do not. Are there any reasons that you might read a book but choose not to review it? Many reasons. Like I said, if it sucks, I probably wouldn't review it. I would still tell you that I don't like it, but for like this, that, and that, but I won't go into it. But yeah, I don't review every book that I read. And we're talking video reviews here because it's Booktube. I don't review every book I read because sometimes I don't feel like talking about a book, or I don't have anything to say about it that would be of any length worth making a video on. So sometimes I'll save that for like a little wrap up, or sometimes I'll just forget to talk about a book, and that's fine. But usually the ones that make an impact on me, I like to talk about because reading is fun and exciting, and if you have a fun and exciting hobby, you want to share that with others. So, yes, do I review every book on my Goodreads account? Or like, do I write about every book? No. I don't see the need to. If I'm inspired, I will write a longer review, so to speak. But the only reason I would feel the need to write a review is if I am reading a new release and I have decided that I am going to review it, and that's decided beforehand. Other than that, I don't. Sometimes it just happens. But question number 7, final question. How do you feel about the fact that many people now primarily consume book reviews by hobbyists on Booktube rather than professional critics? I don't know the stats on that, but it sounds true based on the number of booktubers and the number of book critics left. There are not many book critics left who do that full time, and most of them are pretty old. Not that old, but I know one youngish one. From Book World, I liked some of what Becca Rothfeld wrote. She might be 30 or so, but that's young for a book reviewer. She might have moved to the New Yorker after Book World died, but I think I have some of her stuff in here. But most book critics are older because it takes a while to get there. But how do I feel about the fact that more book reviews are on YouTube, just by book reviewers? I mean, it just is what it is. It's a changing landscape because of technology. So there's, it is what it is. And I like the low barrier of entry because I just do this as a hobby on the side, and now I can have people talking to me about books through my YouTube channel, which I think is cool. Like, I wouldn't have been able to do that 30 years ago. Nobody would read or listen to what I had to say other than the people that I would talk to in real life. So I think that's cool. I think professional critics being shoved away is not great for worldwide readership. If influencers replace critics, then that's not a good thing for bookish discourse. It's not good. But I like the fact that there is this option. I don't have a good answer for this one, but I'm iffy on this one. But, let's see, tag others. I will tag some people down in the comments. I'll tag Sailing Through Books. She has a great channel. I am still working on it. Your Case for Humanity tag. That was another tag that original tag that I thought was awesome. I'm just still trying to think about my answers. I'll tag Joshua Crabo, That Reading Guy, and maybe some other people as well. But yeah, thanks for listening to me ramble about critics and reviews for 20-something minutes. Talk to you later.